You had a reputation as a very difficult guy. Why?
It shows you what a good actor I am, because I really am the sweetest.
As much as many are taken by the on-screen thrills of Hollywood, taking a deeper look at the lives of some of the personalities in it opens up a terrifying part of the industry, revealing struggles and outrightly evil happenings behind the scenes. In this video, we have made a list of some of the actors who showed very questionable characters, shocking everyone who heard about it. Sit tight and watch, as you might find one of your favorites in this list. Number 10. Bing Crosby. Known as one of the most popular entertainers of the 20th century, Crosby was an artist whose baritone voice and relaxed charm beamed out to millions via radio, films, and television. He appeared in such timeless features as White Christmas and Going My Way, for which he won an Academy Award, and helped define American popular culture during the golden age of radio, film, and television. Known as the voice of major hits like White Christmas and Swinging on a Star, Crosby was among the first artists who broke records for music sales and became one of America's most cherished entertainers. His personal life, however, stood in contrast. Allegations of emotional and physical abuse were well known. His son Gary Crosby wrote a 1983 memoir, Going My Own Way, where he recalled his father as a stern disciplinarian who cruelly punished his children often. Gary and several of his siblings related stories of verbal abuse and inflexible expectations that had psychological bruises reaching far into their adulthoods. Although two of Crosby's sons confirmed Gary's recollections, another son denied the allegations and sprang to his father's defense as a strict yet loving parent. The stories nonetheless made for a far dirtier composite portrait of Crosby, now squarely at odds with his cozy on-screen persona. Apart from being a lousy father, the personal inadequacies of Crosby were many. He was considered a workaholic and emotionally unavailable to any of his family members. He would often give preference to career over personal relations. As a result of his uncontrollable work habits, Crosby was away almost all the time, which resulted in poor relations not only with his kids, but also with his two wives. Leaving all these controversies aside, his contribution to the entertainment world was huge. He recast the sound of popular music and film and inspired generations of singers and actors. While his personal legacy may be fundamentally intricate, his contributions to American culture are secured as an icon for entertainment. Number 9. Milton Burl. Milton Burl was an innovative comedian who helped make television a social focal point during the 1950s. His show, Texaco Star Theater, was phenomenally successful. Burl's sense of comedic timing, outrageous costumes, and daring skits captured the attention of America. For his work, he collected a slew of Emmy Awards and helped establish NBC as a force in television. In fact, his influence was so great that many would later say he sold more television sets around the country single-handedly and was one of the first true stars of the medium. Still, Burl's career and reputation were soured by numerous controversies and personal shortcomings. Praised for his irrepressibly bold humor, it sometimes crossed the line into crassness. Burl invariably had run-ins with his co-stars and crew over his overpowering personality. He was known to be a ladies' man off-screen and reportedly indulged in many other vices, including heavy gambling, which strained his finances. Added to his larger-than-life personality were behaviors that encouraged many professional feuds, eventually contributing to his later career woes. He was also notorious for stealing jokes from other comedians. That habit earned him a reputation as one of show business's most infamous joke thieves. As television changed and comedy tastes altered, Burl's brand of humor by the 1960s began to fall out of favor. His humor seemed old-fashioned to a younger audience. It was no longer the time to enjoy his kind of comedians, and Burl's popularity began to decline. He spent the rest of his life appearing sporadically on television and in film, trying to regain his popularity, but he never regained the popularity he had enjoyed during the early television years. However, Milton Burl remains one of those who brought a huge change to the world of television comedy. The succeeding comedians owe much to his early success, and he remains in the history books as one of the first and one of the best ever stars of television. Number 8. Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda was an American actor whose classic performances gave life to the eternally memorable roles in The Grapes of Wrath, 12 Angry Men, and On Golden Pond. In a career spanning over half a century, he won 2 Academy Awards among other accolades for his vast works in film and theater. Fonda gave nuanced characterization to men of great principles, usually caught in moral dilemmas, a factor touching the hearts of moviegoers and earning him the status of a pillar of American cinema. However, the personal life of Fonda was not bereft of controversies and dark inadequacies. He led a very troubled life regarding his family, especially with his children, Jane and Peter Fonda. Later, Jane Fonda spoke candidly about her strained relationship with her father. She related that her father was emotionally distant and was often critical. This emotional void deeply impacted her, which resulted in lifelong combat to maintain good self-esteem in a turbulent personal life. Besides, Fonda's marriage was also tainted by the rumors of adultery and his stormy marriage with Frances Fonda, whom he separated from in 1950. That just goes to prove that most of his relationships mirrored his failure of commitment, and the emotional closeness further complicated family ties. But despite these personal complications, one cannot help but also recognize that Fonda was a genius insofar as the cinematic world is concerned. He was celebrated for purely being professional with regard to his work and left behind a legacy that still holds respect in Hollywood. The ability to paint depth into his character's persona earned Fonda respect as an artist, while his life off the screen remained mired in family discord and emotional distance. Number 7. Wallace Beery. Wallace Beery was one of Hollywood's more popular early actors. As a big, gruffly charming man, he generally appeared in tough guy and comedian roles. Such films as The Champ, for which he won an Academy Award, and Grand Hotel made Beery one of the highest-paid stars of the 1930s. He could easily switch genres from dramas to comedies. He secured a position in Hollywood as one of the favorite character actors. Despite his screen success, Beery's private life and character were prone to shades of dark controversies. Volatile and aggressive, he acquired a reputation for being problematic and abrasive in nature, both on and off screen. Co-stars would usually complain of his unprofessional behavior, and he was notorious for disdainful behavior towards other people, including the less fortunate actors. In fact, rumors that he had been one of the participants in the 1937 death of comic actor Ted Healy, co-founder of the Three Stooges, really curtailed Beery's career. Some claimed that Beery and a few other men were involved in the fight that may have caused Healy's death, although no charges were ever filed in the matter. The association cast a shadow over Beery's career and remains one of Hollywood's enduring mysteries. The same went for the storms in his personal relationships. Beery was briefly married to the actress Gloria Swanson, whom he divorced following accusations of abuse. Being irascible and rumored to be cruel off-screen also made him less popular in the inner circles of Hollywood. Great as those achievements in film may be, they will forever be murky with the darker facets of his personality and controversies that surrounded him throughout his career. Number 6. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was one of the most famous Golden Age Hollywood actors to participate in such pictures as Captain Blood, The Adventures of Robin Hood, and The Seahawk. Athletic, charming, and daring in his on-screen persona, he became one of the biggest box office draws and highest-paid actors of the 1930s and 40s, largely in the role of a romanticized hero. The influence he had in the action-adventure genre helped establish him as the template for the leading man in Hollywood. There were, however, quite a few controversies in Flynn's life that came to muddle his legacy. Flynn was infamous for reckless behavior, heavy drinking, and womanizing, which led to the eruption of numerous scandals. In 1942, he faced some serious charges after 2 underage girls accused him of statutory rape. Flynn was acquitted by the courts after an internationally sensationalized trial, but the scandal tainted his reputation, and the phrase "in like Flynn" became part of the popular slang, identifying his allegedly overactive sex life. Besides all the legal issues, Flynn's life was full of substance abuse and general strange behavior that caused illness, taking a toll on his career. He would usually get on the nerves of studio executives due to the unprofessional nature of showing up drunk, or not showing up at all. His extreme partying and financial mismanagement would later bring bankruptcy in his life, reducing the wealth he had harnessed in his successful film career. These darker sides notwithstanding, Flynn's mark in the movies remained strong, including his charismatic performances and trailblazing actions that set the template for numerous upcoming Hollywood stars, while his turbulent personal life unwound the struggles and pitfalls of fame that often lay behind stardom. These two sides continued to fight for Flynn's legacy for one that would take the front stage. Number 5. Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers was a genius actor-comedian who was known for his ways of being able to morph into many different characters, most notably in the Pink Panther series as the bungling Inspector Clouseau, and other films such as Dr. Strangelove and Being There. He combined physical comedy with incisive satire to achieve critical acclaim, including several BAFTAs and a Golden Globe. His work with both the British and American cinema left an indelible mark on both and influenced generations of comedic actors. Contrasting sharply, however, Sellers' personal life was often very turbulent, with erratic behavior and dark controversies muddying his legacy. He was intensely difficult to work with, prone to mood swings and sudden outbursts, and almost unpredictable, according to colleagues and family members. By all accounts, Sellers abused his status, treating directors and co-stars with utter contempt. He could be aggressive on set, which made for strained relationships with colleagues, including director Blake Edwards, with whom he clashed repeatedly, even as he frequently collaborated on the Pink Panther films. Besides that, Sellers' personal relationships were unstable and volatile. He married 4 times, was controlling and jealous, and at times even abusive to his wives, one of whom was the actress Britt Ekland, who told about his jealousy and fitful rages. Experimentation with drugs and generally unhealthy lifestyle choices only contributed to these ills, leading to many health problems. With Sellers' career success came an erratic and self-destructive behavior that would go down in history and show a darker side of this comedian. Number 4. Orson Wells. Orson Wells is an innovative film personality, best known as the director and lead actor of Citizen Kane. He often gets credited with making fundamental changes to storytelling in Hollywood through his camera angle and editing styles, and his experiments with multiple narratives. Other famous works include The Magnificent Ambersons and Touch of Evil, which did nothing but solidify his vision of film and Wells as one of the most influential directors to have ever lived. One could not deny the genius of Wells, but at the very same time he was arrogant and very condescending toward others in the profession. Infamously, he regarded many of the actors he worked with as beneath him and merely a means to express his artistic vision. He took pride in all his professional affairs. For instance, he publicly belittled other actors he worked with, such as Charlton Heston on Touch of Evil, for not living up to his expectations. Wells was of the view that most actors were not prepared or intelligent enough to create any semblance of art. Hence, he preferred working alone or not at all whenever he could. Added to that, Wells himself had problems with authorities, owing to an inability to compromise, which led to battles with studio executives, resulting in situations where films would be re-edited or even shelved. His lifelong financial struggles, along with eccentric and indulgent behavior, made things even grayer in his career. These were scandals that damned his name and slighted his commercial viability, but did nothing to detract from the innovations Wells created in filmmaking and the daring approach to the construction of films that lie at the root of much of contemporary film and confirm Wells as a genius, only that it came with personal and professional costs. Number 3. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway is arguably the most lauded and divisive actress Hollywood has ever known. Her career has spanned over 6 decades, with performances in iconic films like Bonnie and Clyde, Chinatown, and Network. Dunaway collected an Academy Award, a BAFTA, and multiple Golden Globes, securing her position as a major talent. Her characterizations of powerful, sometimes multifaceted women have left indelible marks on American cinema, and the classic roles she played in them have set an example for generations of actors. But off-screen, her reputation is blighted by tales of volatile behavior and stormy working relationships. According to many colleagues, she was sometimes exacting and abusive. Dunaway's biggest controversy came with the making of Mommy Dearest, where she played Joan Crawford. The forcible approach adopted by Dunaway is said to have created clashes with the cast and crew, and it's even hinted that she became almost obsessed with her devotion to the role. She would later say that she regretted the role because she felt it harmed her career due to the brutal public image associated with it. In 2019, Dunaway even had to fight a lawsuit over abuse and mistreatment of production staff while working on a play, including physical aggression. Her response got her kicked off the show. Notwithstanding such instances, there can be no denying that Dunaway's contribution to the industry is indeed well established. The performance of complicated characters introduced new standards into Hollywood for leading ladies, even if she sometimes came across as difficult. Number 2. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was an American actor who was born in 1920 and served in the film industry for almost 9 decades. Indeed, he was a talented and versatile actor because in the 1930s he gained fame as a child star through the Andy Hardy series. Charismatic and gifted with a natural flair, Rooney is a celebrity in Hollywood in both comedy and drama. He went on to appear in over 300 films with some of the most iconic actors who ever lived, such as Elizabeth Taylor, with whom he shared the screen in National Velvet. As beloved as Rooney was on screen, his personal life often told another tale, one with shades a little darker. With his renowned temper and impulsive behavior, he started quite a few publicized disputes. Variations of that story have him belittling people, feeding rumors of his jealous attitude toward young stars. One of them was the stormy relationship he had with Elizabeth Taylor when she was only a child during the filming of National Velvet. Rooney froze her out as if she was no good. Added to the controversial reputation were turbulent personal relationships he always seemed to get caught up in, and financial problems that followed suit. He had married 8 times, often facing accusations of mistreatment from partners and family members. Later in life, allegations of verbal and physical abuse also emerged. He struggled a lot with money problems because of gambling and poor financial management, which often overshadowed the success of his career. There is a gray shade in Rooney's life which has resulted in divided feelings about his character amongst the fans. Number 1. Kirk Douglas. Of Hollywood's greatest leading men, Kirk Douglas perhaps was the most iconic, rising to prominence in the 1950s and 60s through memorable appearances in such films as Spartacus and Lust for Life. Strong at playing gruff and sturdy characters, most notably those of great will, he got great praise for how resilient and dedicated he was to the craft. He had amassed over 90 film credits in his name and passed on a legacy truly of a legendary actor who helped break the Hollywood blacklist and commanded respect for a moral judgment few could question within the industry. However, Douglas's personal life made headlines with controversy. Among the most serious and longest speculated incidents is one involving actress Natalie Wood. More recently, there were allegations that Douglas had raped Wood in a hotel room in the mid-1950s while she was still a teen. That story had long been an open secret in Hollywood, but only many years later did the details start to emerge publicly, reportedly via accounts from Wood's family. Indeed, the charges paint a darker picture of Douglas, standing in marked contrast to the heroic roles he played on screen. Besides, Douglas was known for his complex personality, with a fierce temper and powerful ambition that once in a while caused friction among associates and family. His son, the actor Michael Douglas, remembered him being a tough character, and his harsh personality affected their family life. With such a talent and the enormous contributions he made to film, the later emergence of allegations regarding Wood and impossible tales of his personality has, in later years, immensely complicated his legacy and begged questions about a man celebrated as one of Hollywood's greatest stars. We hope this video provided a fresh look at these celebrities, and feel free to share some other that we might have missed in the comments. Till next time, goodbye.